Hey everyone, it's Carla from Carla's Cakes and welcome to Carla in the Kitchen. Today is all about those delicious and chewy brownies that we all love so much, but I'm going to do a twist to them and I want to show you guys two cool ideas on how you can make your brownies. I'm going to be working with a fudgy brownie today, but I'll let you know the difference between a fudgy and a cakey brownie so you can switch up the recipe at home if you'd like. I'll show you how to make these delicious s'mores brownie, which is a fudgy brownie with dulce de leche, with marshmallow and some graham crackers, and I've topped it up with some chocolate chip cookies. And I'll show you how to make these super cute brownie cupcakes. So it's a fudgy brownie cupcake with our Carla's Cakes vanilla buttercream, and I will show you how to make these super cute and beautiful and elegant flowers. So I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited too. Let's get started. So everybody loves brownies, and everybody also has a preference on what type of brownie they like, whether they like a cakey brownie or whether they like a fudgy brownie. And there's always 5 main ingredients when you're making a brownie recipe, and that's going to be your butter, sugar, eggs, flour, and chocolate. And when you play around with the ratios of these ingredients, you'll end up with a different outcome. So a cakey brownie or a fudgy brownie. The 2 main ingredients that will change the texture of your brownie would be your fats. So this is your butter and your sugar, as well as your flour. For a cakey brownie, you'll have less fat, so less butter and less chocolate, and more flour than you would a fudgy brownie. And also, if you're making a cakey brownie, then you would add baking powder, so you will have a puffed up brownie instead of a fudgy, dense brownie. So I love a fudgy brownie, so I'm going to show you guys how to do a fudgy recipe. So the first thing you're going to do, I will let you know I'm going to be doing everything out of the microwave, which is super easy, so you can do at home even if you don't have an oven, or sorry, a stove top, but you can use a stove top for this recipe. The first thing you're going to need is the ingredients. So you need 1 cup of butter, softened. You're going to need 2 cups of white sugar, half a cup of cocoa powder, 4 eggs, which I've beaten, 2/3 of a cup of all-purpose flour, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and 2 cups of chocolate chips. And you can, of course, you can always switch up this part, so you can have chocolate chips and you can add some nuts. So you would do 2 cups of chocolate chips and you can add some nuts as well, or you can add another cup of whatever else you want to add, with maybe M&Ms or Smarties. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add my butter straight into a bowl. So I have a big bowl because I'm going to be mixing everything in here in the microwave. So I'm going to add my butter, and I want this to melt. So I'm just going to zap it in the microwave for 20 seconds. So I have that melting. Then we're going to add our sugar and our cocoa straight into that melted butter. If it's not melted after 20 seconds, then I'll zap it for another 10, and I'll keep adding 10 more seconds until my butter has melted. So I'm using white sugar, granulated sugar. You can use brown sugar, so you can do 1 cup and 1 cup, but the brown sugar will give you more of a chewy consistency, whereas the white sugar will give you that fudgy consistency. So my butter has melted. Now I'm just going to add my sugar and my cocoa straight into the bowl. And if you're using a saucepan, then you would do this over medium heat, melt your butter, and you would add your ingredients. And I'm just going to give this a quick stir just to incorporate everything. Just like this, and I'm going to put this back into the microwave for about 20 seconds. So if you're using a saucepan, you would melt the butter into your saucepan. you would add your sugar and your cocoa while it's hot, once your butter has melted, and you can give it a quick stir. Then we're going to add our eggs. If you're using your saucepan, you want to make sure to remove the butter and your sugar and your cocoa from the heat. And once it's removed from the heat, then we can add our eggs, because we don't want scrambled eggs in our brownies. We want to let that mix in, but once it's off the heat. So remember that. So I have this all mixed together. It's incorporated. And you can see how the butter and the sugar and the cocoa is all together. Now we'll add in our eggs. So I have already beaten my eggs. I whip those up. And with my wooden spoon, I just like to use a wooden spoon. I'm just going to mix this all together. Then I'm going to stick it into my stand mixer. So I have my KitchenAid stand mixer. You can use a hand mixer, as always. That's no problem. I'm just going to give this a quick stir, just to help it incorporate a little bit. So that looks good. So I'll just put this in, and I'm using my paddle attachment for my mixer. So I'll just pour this in. Sorry. You can already see how it's starting to look like a fudgy consistency, a fudgy texture. Looks so good and delicious. So put this on, and I'm just going to help this whip up a bit. And I will put this on medium. So into that mixture, we're going to add our flour. And it's only a little bit of flour because we want it to be a fudgy texture. And I will add my vanilla extract. And then the last step will be to add the chocolate, which will give it some more fat, which will also help it to be a fudgy brownie. So I'll just pour in my flour and my vanilla extract. I'll mix this really quickly. I like to just kind of pulse it before I mix when I put my flour, because flour tends to splash, so I don't want it to get all over the place. So I just do a little bit, and then once it has been mixed in a bit, then I move it up a notch. Then I'm going to pour my chocolate straight in. And just like that, we have a fudgy brownie batter. So I'm going to let this mix. I've preheated my oven to 350 degrees. Next up, I'll show you different ways that you can prepare your brownie, and then you can bake it. So now that our delicious fudgy batter has been prepared, we have to find a way to cook it so that we can eat it and enjoy it with our family. I love brownies, but I also love s'mores. So I thought, why don't I put the two together, bake it in a pan, and see what that tastes like? And it turned out delicious. So I want to show this recipe to you guys. If you don't want to do a s'mores, that's totally okay. What you would do is just pour this batter into two 8x8 pans, bake that in the oven, 350 degrees, for about 30 to 40 minutes. So you're going to keep it in there for quite a while. Then you would take it out and let that cool down before flipping over and then cutting before serving. So I'll show you the s'mores version of our fudgy brownie. So what you're going to do is, again, you would do two 8x8 pans. So I have my one here. So I'm just going to pour about half of this into my pan, just like this. And for this recipe, you need marshmallows, you need graham crackers, which are both very important ingredients when you're making s'mores. And also, I kind of switched it up a little bit, and I'm going to add some dulce de leche into my brownie. And if you don't know what that is, it's a sweet caramel made from condensed milk. So it's delicious. And it's from Argentina, which is where my family's from. So I love it so much. It's definitely something that brings me back to when I was a kid, and I would eat all my delicious desserts with dulce de leche. So I think that's why I was tempted to add this into my brownie mix. So I've spread this out nice and evenly on my pan. And by the way, I have sprayed my pan with cooking spray. You can butter it. but I find the cooking spray is perfect. So into this, I'm actually just going to pop my marshmallows on top. If you have the mini marshmallows, you can just pour them all over, and that's maybe a bit easier. But with the larger marshmallows, I put them around my brownie, but I leave space in between so it has room to expand and then go back down. So I'm going to put 9 marshmallows in here. And there's different types of marshmallows, different flavors. Also, you can use gelatin-free marshmallows, you can use strawberry marshmallows, whatever you'd like. These are just the basic white marshmallows. So this looks good. What I will do now is pour some graham crackers on top, because we got to get some graham cracker flavor into our s'mores brownie. So I'm just going to pour this with no specific design. I just want to get this all over on top of my marshmallows, over my brownies. I got some chunks here. So that looks good. And for our dulce de leche, I'm just going to put some blobs in between my marshmallows, and then I just want to swirl that around so it gets mixed into our brownie. So I'll just put 4. So I have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Just like that. And just with a knife, I just want to kind of mix that into the brownie here. And this is going to create a really delicious, almost like a chewy caramel, sticky toffee type of texture on your brownie. So it's really good. So there we go. So now I'm going to put this in the oven. I would do the same thing with my other pan. I'm going to put this in my oven for 30 minutes. You're going to see that your marshmallows get nice and toasty. When you take it out of the oven, your marshmallows are going to be really big. But once you let it cool down a bit, your marshmallows will go down. So this is what it looks like. So I'm going to put this in the oven. I do have one that's already prepared. So when it's done and it's been baking for quite a while, this is what your delicious brownie s'more looks like. So you can see my marshmallows are here, and they did rise and now they've gone down, so they're into the actual brownie mix. And also my graham crackers. And at the end, when I took these out of the oven, I sprinkled a little bit of chocolate chips on top, which you can see here, just to give it a nice texture. I didn't put it in while it was baking because obviously they would completely melt. So when I took it out, right when it's hot from the oven, I sprinkled some on, so it melts just a little bit, but it keeps its shape. So this is delicious. I hope you like it. Again, if you don't want to do the s'mores, then all you would do is just put your batter into your cake pan and bake. Can't wait to take a bite. So now let's turn our fudgy brownies into cupcakes. And I'll show you how to do that. It's super easy, and I'm going to show you how to decorate them and how to make these super cute little flowers that you can put on top of your brownies. You can also make these flowers to put on top of regular cupcakes. So what you're going to need for this is your 12 cupcake pan, or if you're making more, then you can use more. You need your fudgy brownie batter ready to go, and I have 12 cupcake liners. So I'm just going to quickly put these straight into my pan. And you can be fun and creative and use different colors. Sometimes you can use your regular white one. Other times you can use other colors. So I'm going to use purple for today. And I have my medium-size ice cream scoop. So you're just going to scoop it out and pour this straight into your cupcake liner. Just like this. If you want as well, you can put an Oreo at the bottom, then put your brownie on top. So you get an Oreo bottom cupcake or brownie cupcake, which is a good idea. You can also do the same idea where you make s'mores, and you can put your brownie mix in, put your marshmallow on top, sprinkle some graham crackers, and put dulce de leche. Another delicious idea is you put your brownie, put a blob of dulce de leche, and you can actually put some sea salt, just a little bit of sea salt on top of that. And when you bake it, it comes all together and it's absolutely delicious. So you would just go put this all the way through. You'd preheat your oven as usual to 350 degrees. Bake this for 20 minutes. Check it, and if it needs more time, then feel free to add more time. It really depends on the type of oven that you have. I've already prepared my brownies. So I will put these in my oven. And I have the finished product here, so they're absolutely delicious, and you can see that consistency, how they seep to the bottom because it's an actual fudgy brownie. And these are the cute little flowers that I'll show you how to make. First thing you're gonna do is, I have my vanilla buttercream, the Carla's Cakes vanilla buttercream, which you know how to do. So we're just going to put this on top, and using the same technique as always, we're just going to create a nice little circular motion and go all the way up top. Just like that. Also, before putting your buttercream, if you didn't bake your brownie cupcakes with anything, you can put, again, some dulce de leche on the inside and then put your buttercream on top, just to get, that way when you bite your brownie, you get some caramel steeping out. It's so delicious. So to make our flowers, our fondant flowers, you're going to need, if you can get these at any cake supply store. They're just kind of like little domes that you can use to create the shape of your flower. If you don't have, then you can actually just get any type of little bowl and you can put them in there. Or what I've done in the past is with tin foil, I'll get, let's say, a bowl, and I'll put my tin foil around the bowl to create the dome, and I'll take it out and I can actually, with my tin foil, make a bunch of different molds with that one bowl, so you don't need to use so many. And then you can just throw them out when you're done. And I've sprinkled them with a little bit of icing sugar so that my flowers won't stick. So I'll just set that aside. So I have my medium-sized flower cutter. You can use a cookie cutter for this. I have some water, some gold sprinkles. You can use any color sprinkles. I have white fondant, which I've covered with plastic wrap until I use it so that it doesn't dry out. And I'm just going to be working on my silicone mat. I have my rolling pin and a little brush so that I can put my water in the center of my flower to stick my sprinkles. So I'm just going to take a little bit of white fondant and roll this out. And guys, you can use any color fondant you want. It doesn't have to be white. You can use any sprinkles, like I said. Get creative. If you want to match it to your cupcake liners, for example, I did purple, so I could have used maybe a purple fondant and then some white sprinkles in the center. So once I've rolled this out a little bit, I'm just going to take my cookie cutter and cut out some flowers. So just like that. Then I'll just peel this off carefully, making sure not to rip the flowers, and I can put this aside for later use. Then with this, I'm going to put them on my domes. So I'll just carefully take these out and place them in the center. And remember to ice those a little bit with your, to powder them with your icing sugar, just that way they don't stick, because otherwise it'll be hard to take them out once they've dried up. Because you want to make this ahead of time and let this dry up for about a day or two if you can. So you want to make these ahead of time. So just like that, I've put them in the center. Now with my brush, I just have a little brush. You can use any type of brush for this. I'm going to put some water in the center of my flowers. I just want a little bit. I don't want too much. Just like this. And I'll take some of my gold sprinkles and put it in the center. Wasn't that so easy? So just like that, I have these cute white flowers, which I'm going to put on top of my delicious fudgy cupcakes. So just like that. This is a really good idea for any type of party, for a wedding. You can create a beautiful dessert table and have, a beautiful wedding cake and have some brownie cupcakes on the side to match. So it's definitely, there's so many things that you can do. And just to show you guys what that looks like. So that's super beautiful. A nice little girly touch to the typical brownie, and I hope you guys enjoyed. We've made so many delicious different techniques, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching. All of our recipes are on the website, so feel free to go check them out. Also, if you have any recommendations, feel free to contact us and let us know what you want to see. Thank you so much for watching Carla in the Kitchen.